Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi Nedarim Peches. We are holding on Pei Zayin Amud Beis, right at the Mishnah, which is 6 lines from the bottom. The Torah enables a husband to disrupt his wife's neder, to apply hafara, or hakama, to reinforce it, to certify that neder. The Torah gives him a deadline. You have until the end of the day to address the neder. Now, the Torah refers to that day as Yom Shammai, the day that he heard the neder. But as we learned throughout the Masechta, Yom Shemiah means the day that he was notified about the neder. So even if she made the neder a week ago, but he only finds out today. Today is his Yom Shemiah, the day in which he became aware of the neder, the day which gives him the opportunity to address the neder. That is called Yom Shemiah, the day of hearing, the day of, in Yiddish they say der Herr, the day that he internalized, that he appreciated, that he became aware of the neder. Says the Mishnah, Yodea ani sheyesh nedarim. So a husband gets up and says, look, I know that there are nedarim. I knew on Sunday when she made the neder that what she made was really a neder. Aval eini yodea sheyesh mefirin. But I was unaware of a very crucial fact, that a husband has the capacity to apply hafara. I didn't know back on Sunday when she made the neder that I could disrupt the neder. I only found out about that today on Wednesday. What happens today? Is it too late? Or shall we say that today, Wednesday, is considered his Yom Shemiah because today he first became aware of his ability to apply hafara? Yes, that's the conclusion. Yafir. Today on Wednesday, he could do the hafara despite the fact that it's way after the fact, because today is in fact his Yom Shemiah. The fact that he knew that there was a neder back on, that doesn't mean anything until he understands that he can be made for the neder. That awareness, that knowledge, that is called Yom Shemiah, and that occurred when? Today, on Wednesday. What about the other way around? Yodea ani sheyesh mefirin. He says, look, I knew back on Sunday that sometimes a husband can apply hafara. I knew that. But I didn't know that this neder that she made, this specific neder, qualifies. Aval eini yodea shezeh neder. I didn't know that this is the type of neder which allows for hafara. We know that in order to apply hafara, the neder needs to be either one of these two classes, either inui nefesh, deprivation, or something which interferes with their marriage. I didn't know that this neder that she made qualifies for hafara. I only found out about that today, way later. Can he do the hafara today or not? Rabbi Meir Omer, lo yafer, he cannot. It's too late. You knew that you can make hafara. You know about the idea of a husband interfering. You weren't sure about the nature of the neder, whether it qualifies. Says the Mefarish, you were pesheya. You shouldn't have taken any chances. That's called awareness. You were cognizant. You were fully in there. Evidently, you didn't care, and therefore it's too late. V'chachamim omer yafer. Chachamim disagree. The fact is, he only became truly aware of his ability to be made for this specific neder today. Today is the Yom HaShemiah. The fact that he had some inkling back on Sunday, that's not enough. That's called miktsas yediyah, a partial awareness, partial cognizance. That's not enough to trigger to expect him to make hafara. Rather, only when he became fully aware of his abilities. A, his abilities. B, the fact that this neder qualifies for hafara. He only became aware of that today. Today is the Yom HaShemiah, and he can do the hafara today. V'ramina, we're going to have a kasha. You see, in the beginning of the Mishnah, in case 1, where he understood that she was making a neder, but was totally in the dark in terms of his ability to be mefer, we say, well, all agree. There's no machlekes. Everybody agrees. The clock doesn't start ticking until he knows, until he's notified of his abilities. Today on Wednesday. So partial knowledge, the fact that he had some inkling, he knew that it's a neder back on Sunday, but it wasn't a full yediyah. That's not enough to start the clock. We're going to have a raya from a brisa that Rabbi Meir disagrees. Rabbi Meir says even partial awareness is considered. But I mean, the pasuk here is describing what happens when a person kills somebody inadvertently, by accident, b'shekek. He walks into a forest and attacked somebody without seeing, without knowing that the victim was there, which indicates that the killer has the ability to see. This time he missed him, but otherwise he can see prat l'suma, as opposed to a blind person who can never see. That type of person is not responsible. He is not included in the halacha where a person who kills b'shogeg runs to the Ir Mikla, to the special cities. He doesn't have to do that. Why? Because he can't be included in the pasuk of b'lei ra'os. He doesn't have the ability to really understand, to really discern that there is a person standing there. Divid Rabbi Yehuda. So although he has some cognizance, some sense of perhaps that there's somebody there, even a summa can have that, but it's not a full knowledge, it's not a full awareness. He's not included. And this corresponds to the first part of the Mishnah, where we learned that a husband who only had partial awareness, he knew that his wife's making a neder, but he didn't know that he can interfere with the neder, that's miktsas yediyah, it doesn't count. So this matches up very well. Rabbi Meir is the issue. Rabbi Meir Omer, Rabbi says summa, just the opposite. That even a summa, a blind man, he has that extra hypersensitivity. He can, his other senses compensate for his lack of sight. Right? Hashem gives a blind man extra sensitivity in other senses. In any case, Rabbi Meir says he has some awareness, to some degree, that there's somebody standing there. It's not a full knowledge. It's not a confirmation. Incomparable to somebody who can actually see a victim. He perhaps did have some sort of feel that there's somebody there. That's called miktsas yediyah, and therefore he's included in the halacha of the ritzeach b'shogeg. Problem is, Rav Meir in our Mishnah seems to agree that a miktsas yediyah doesn't count. Look at the first case in the Mishnah. Husband knew that she was making a neder on Sunday, but he didn't know that he can be made for the neder. That's all miktsas yediyah. He's not held accountable. The clock doesn't start clicking until Wednesday, when he finds out the full picture. And here Rabbi Meir seems to say even miktsas yediyah, partial awareness, partial knowledge, does count. Amarava. You can't compare the two sugyos. The sugya by ritzeach b'shogeg is based on psukim. It's all about how to expound on the drushes, and that's how we get to that conclusion. It's an exception, but typically, even Rabbi Meir agrees that a miktsas yediyah, partial knowledge, is not reckoned with. Amar Rabba hacha minyan dekra, v'hacha minyan dekra over here in Nedarim. It's based on the context of the psukim, and there as well. And the Gemara will explain how Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir arrived at their conclusion concerning a person who killed b'shogeg. Rabbi Yehuda savar, when it comes to a killer, ksiv, the pasuk begins, Vashar yavo yesrei eo bayar. Anybody who enters a forest and encounters a victim, it's all encompassing. Called the bar me'al liyar, referring to any fellow who can be entering a forest, even a blind man. V'sumanami bar me'al liyarhu, a blind man as well as a perfect candidate for a fellow entering a yar. He's also included. Bar me aliyaru. V'amris below ra'is l'rabbi sasuma. Now, according to you, Rabbi Meir, that below ra'is referring to even a summa, even a blind man. Well, miya arnavkale. It's already been learned from the pasuk we just mentioned. Anybody entering a yar. Elosh mamino. Apparently, when the pasuk adds beloy rois, it's coming to highlight. It's coming to stipulate. Beloy rois parat l'summa. This fellow missed his victim. He didn't see him because he should have seen him, as opposed to a summa who wasn't expected to see, and therefore a summa is not included in the halacha. That's Rabbi Yehuda's conclusion. Rabbi Yehuda just the other way around. Let's focus on the words bivli das. He killed him without awareness. Kol de bar meda. It only refers to a person who has potential, who can have awareness of his victim. V'summa lav bar medahu, as opposed to a blind man who doesn't really have full cognizance when it comes to a person standing before. He doesn't have real knowledge, confirmed awareness, and therefore he's excluded. That's how I would learn, if only from this word bivli das, indicating only a person who can have proper das as opposed to a summa. But listen to this: v'amras beloy rois prat l'summa. And let's move on to the next words. Beloy rois. He killed him without seeing him. Now, according to you, Rabbi Yehuda, beloy rois excludes a blind man. Well, we have already excluded a blind man. Mi das nafkale. We just had a pasuk bli das, which excludes a person who can't have awareness, can't have das, meaning a summa is not included. Why the double miut? Elosh mamina. Apparently, the pasuk is telling us beloy rois l'rabois es asumma. Although beloy rois would indicate that we were speaking about a person who can potentially see. He just missed him this time, so we count the blind man out. But it's a double miut, because that same halacha has already been learned from bivli das. As we know, when we have one miut followed by another miut, it turns into a ribui, because the pasuk is pretty much indicating to us, don't work with the first miut. Otherwise, I would have just left it as such. The fact that he had another miut indicates that don't reckon with the miut. L'rabbi says a summa. Rather, we're going to include a summa, despite the fact that he only has limited awareness and limited das. The bottom line is like this. We have two parts of the Mishnah. Let's start from part B. Husband says, I know that I knew all along that I had the ability to interfere, but I didn't know that this neder qualifies. Ramirez says, too late. Why? And the Ran explains, that's called Yediyah Gemura. The fact is, you knew you had the ability, why'd you take a chance? As the Mefarish adds. That's called full awareness. Chachamim disagree. Until you really have the full picture, don't blame the husband. That's in terms of the Seifa. In terms of the ratio. He didn't know that he had the ability to interfere at all. So despite the fact that he knew about the neder, that's Miktsas Yediyah, it doesn't count. And that seems to be the consensus. Miktsas Yediyah doesn't count. But there's an exception by the Ritzach B'Shegig. Rav Meir is based on a pasuk, a miut achar miut. Even a summa with his limited knowledge is included in the halacha. Continues the Mishnah, Hamader hana mei chas chasanai or lechasanai. A father-in-law made a neder against his son-in-law. You can't have anything from me. His father-in-law wants to give his daughter some money and keep it away from her husband. Typically, we know that whatever the wife acquires throughout her marriage is called nichsei mulug, in which case the property, the principal, belongs to her, but the produce and the income goes to the husband. So how does dear father-in-law keep everything away from son-in-law? He tells her as follows. He has to stipulate very clearly that it goes to her only. Look, these monies are given to you as a gift, a personal gift. Provided, it's on condition, your husband has no access to this money. And he continues. He must conclude. It's not enough to stop right there and condition it upon her husband keeping away. That doesn't work. You have to add. I'm only giving it to you in as much as you're eating it. If you use it for food, it's yours. Until then, it's mine. In which case, now it's out of his reach. Amar Rav, this halacha, this added stipulation, the only way it works is if it's given to her as food. This is in line with Shitas Rabbi Meir, who holds that there's no other way of giving an Isha something and protecting it from her husband. Amarav lo yishanu, this only works it only works if he stipulates as such. He's not giving it to her really. He's only feeding her. And therefore her husband has to keep out. But if, let's say, he doesn't stipulate so clearly, he tells her, Masha tirtzi asi, I'm giving you this money. I don't want your husband to have it. But you can use it for whatever you want. Buy clothing, etc. That doesn't work. Because in that case, husband could just step in and grab it. Aval Omar Masha Tirtzi Asi Kana Yasain Baal. If he gives it to her and says, no husband involved in this money, but take it and use it as you wish, husband will get it. We know Masha Kansa Isha, whatever the wife acquires, Kana Bala, husband gets. So this stipulation doesn't work. The only way it does is if he adds, as the Mishnah says, Masha at it's only going to be yours if you eat it. At that point, it's too late for the husband to take it. That's Rav's Shita, that the Mishnah over here reflects Shita's Rabbi Meir. And the only way to keep it away from the husband is this way. Shmuel Omar, he says, look, I don't paskin like a Rabbi Meir, and therefore, la halacha, you don't have to do this. Afilu Omar Masha Tirtzi Asi, even if he, just gives it to her and says, it's not your husband's, and take it and use it for whatever you want. Loikana Yasain Baal, that's enough to keep it away from the husband. Maska for the Rabbi said. Kiman Azlah Shmata, the Rav. The Rav's explanation, Rav's statement, whose Shita is reflected therein? Rabbi Meir. Right? As we explained, this is Shita's Rabbi Meir, the Omar, Yad Isha ki Yad Bala. The Yad literally means the hand, but figuratively means her domain, her possession is her husband's. Whatever she gets, reverts to the husband. And the only way to keep it away from husband is by stipulating, as we explained before. V'raminu, we're going to have a kasha from our Mishnah in Erevin, and we know that Stam Mishnah is Rabbi Meir, which seems to indicate otherwise. There is an instance in which case an Isha can take possession without her husband. Keitzad mishtatrin b'mavut. So as we learned back in Erevin, we have an alleyway accessed by several courtyards. In order to join together all the members of the courtyards so that they treat the entire alleyway as one joint area, in which case there's no issue of carrying. We do shutufei mavois. They join together and contribute some food, in which case it becomes like one big happy family, one joint entity, and there's no issue of carrying from the chatzar, which is privately owned, to the mavi, which is jointly owned. It's all one joint, happy family. Now we have one generous member of the mavi who would like to sponsor the food for all. How does he do that? He places a barrel of wine. And he says, I'm giving it to anybody in the mavi. But the only way for it to be transferred to the bnei mavi, they have to actually own part of it, is by giving it to somebody. He can't just hold on to it and say, I'm giving it to them. It has to leave his possession. So he has to give it to somebody, a middleman, a shliach, who will be zoiche, who will acquire it on behalf of everybody in the mavi, right? So how does he do that? Umazakal, and he can be mazaka, the barrel, by way of any type of person, provided that person is his own person, is independent of the benefactor. Otherwise, it's like taking, out of one pocket and putting it to the other. Let's say he has some Jewish slaves, you can use them. Here, pick the barrel up on behalf of all the people in the neighborhood. They can do that because they have their own ability to acquire the slaves, that is. Likewise, his son or daughter, provided they're adults. Here's the punchline. Even his wife can pick up the barrel on behalf of everybody else. Well, this is a Stam Mishnah. Let's assume it's Rabbi Meir, and we say that every time an Isha acquires something, it goes straight back to the husband. So what do you accomplish? You gave it to her and it comes back to you. The Erev doesn't leave the husband's domain, it goes right back. Even if he'll say, I'm giving it to you on condition I don't get it. It doesn't work on Rabbi Meir. It's automatic. Whatever she gets goes back to him. Amarava, here it's a different story, because As the Ran points out, this is known halacha that a husband can certainly give a gift to his wife. He can take something and say, it's yours and not mine, right? Because that's a mass of giving it away. Therefore, says Rava here as well, we'll apply that principle. Even though Rab Meir generally tells us, Yad isha ki yad bala, whatever the wife acquires goes back to the husband. Moide Rab Meir linin shituf. When it comes to shituf, this partnership that we're speaking about, here even Rab Meir would agree that it works. You know why? Because he's the husband's the one giving it away. He doesn't want it. He's giving it to her to take on behalf of everybody else. The kivun, the lazakos la'acherimu. Since it's meant to be given for the other people, she's accepting it from him on behalf of everybody else. Miyad bala zachya. So since it's coming from her husband, it works. If a stranger gives a wife something without any interest of husband getting it, too bad. Go straight to the husband. But if the husband himself gives it away, he says, look, my wife, take this and be zoich on behalf of everyone. That works. Because he's the one getting rid of it. He's the one allowing her to accept it on behalf of everybody else. So Ravina had a kash on this. We have another, I think it's a Bryson, which says like this. You want to provide the Erev on behalf of the Bnei HaChatzor. What type of person can you use to perform this zikui, right? It needs to be an independent person. So who qualifies? The following individuals can be used as a means of transferring the material to the other neighbors. Your adult children, your Jewish slaves. However, in the following cases, it doesn't work because they're too connected to the owner. They're not independent people. You're minors. You're non-Jewish slaves who don't have their own, means of acquiring. Whatever they get goes back to the owner. Even one's wife is considered as such, is included in this category, is listed amongst those individuals who don't have their own independent ability to acquire and to be zoicha. So we have a stira, a contradiction between this price and the previous halacha, which allows the isha to do zikui. Ella Amar Rav Ashi, says Rav Ashi, you know what? We have to relearn this sugya. Typically, you cannot use even your own wife for this purpose, as per the most recent price. She's too close to home. Whatever she gets goes back to the owner. Mas Nisan, in the first Mishnah, where an isha can perform in this manner, is speaking about an exceptional case. What happened was that this isha happened to own a courtyard within this configuration. One of the courtyards which we're going to benefit, which we're going to make use of the shitufei mavois, happens to belong to this fellow's wife. In which case, when he's giving her the barrel, it's also for herself. She's actually receiving a gift from her husband pertaining to her chatzah. So it's not just that husband is using her as a catalyst, as a shliach to be zoicha for the other member. That doesn't work. Because he's not actually giving her anything. He's just using her as a transfer point. Isha Kabbalah, it doesn't work. But in this exceptional case where she owns property and she needs to actually get from the husband part of that wine, he's actually giving her a gift. As we said before, if it's a straight out gift, of course it works. And then we stretch it a bit further. Since she has the ability to be zech, at least part of it for herself, once you open the floodgates, that's it. Once the system works, she takes it for herself, she takes it for everybody else. Once the transfer takes off, because part of it is a gift to her, so now she's acquiring it for herself and for the others, it works. But otherwise it wouldn't work. Okay, so to summarize today's daf, Miksas Yediyah, partial knowledge. is not really reckoned with. Husband had no clue that he can do the hafara, even though he knew that it's a neder. That's not called Yom Shmiyah. When he finds out that he has the ability, that is called Yom Shmiyah, which allows for hafara on that day. We have some exceptions. Let's say he knew that he can do the hafara, but he wasn't sure this neder allows for hafara. Rameir says, you should have done it anyways. It's your fault. Likewise, Rameir says by the fellow who was a summa, a blind man who killed somebody b'shegeg. We learn from the pasuk that, limited awareness that even a summa has is enough to obligate him to go into exile and to galus on account of this killing b'shegeg. We have Shitas Rameir. A wife cannot own something on her own. Yad isha ki yad bala. Everything reverts to the husband. Even if it was given to her on condition that your husband won't have a part in it. It's meshubah to the husband, it's bound to the husband, he gets the income, it stays, it's considered like any other asset of nichsei melog, except if it's given under very narrow, very specific stipulations. I'm giving it to you on condition your husband can't interfere, and it's only yours when you eat it. At that point it works. Question was, if so, when it comes to the sheet of mavais, how can the husband give something to the wife to receive on account of everybody else? He's not actually giving her anything. It's staying by him. According to the conclusion, the Gemara was speaking that she has a chatzar, in which case he's giving her a gift, at least partially a gift, in which case, once she receives it, we say, migu, the system is working, it takes off, she takes it for herself, and gets transferred to the others as well. And therefore, the Shita Mavois is indeed valid. Now we all have much Hatzlacha, B'suras Tevis, and Siyata D'Shmaya.